Good morning. From some years ago, I'm working in Lithuania, and one thing that is particularly impressive during the spring is the number of grassland fires that happen there. Even, well, it's a practice well established by the farmers, but it's not welcomed by the population because they see a big threat to their homes, to their goods, but most of all they don't understand the ecological role of the grassland fires. So, to begin, fires are not a problem only from Europe or from Mediterranean, are also a problem from Northern Europe and especially in the Baltic. And there are several conditions that in Lithuania there is a very big possibility of wildland fire. You know, when you see these red colors, mean that these areas are in a meteorological risk of fire. The story of wildfires in Lithuania, we cannot be comparable because the size of the country is much more smaller. The landscape is more fragmented, but since 2009 there was a very big investment in fire suppression measures that decreased the number of fires, of course. So the important thing is that the fires cost a lot in Lithuania. Can be in some years, as 2006 arrived at 180,000 euros. So it's a quite important sum. Other important thing is that what they do or how they expense the money in the immediate period after the fire. So most of the money is importantly invested on reforestation costs. You know, not only in the prevention, and this is a problem because people actually only do their actions post factum and don't try to make some kind of prevention measures that you understand why. So this is in Lithuanian, but I think it's important since you are here speaking about education and fire. There is a strong publicity and advertisement how fire is bad. You know, and this is some kind of example that they say that do not burn grass and do not make bad to the nature and to our life. So this is what the television and also this publicity is saying. You see the image of the right. This is what is the dangers of fire in grasslands, means jolegaisrei. So they say that basically it's bad for that they can burn the forest. I don't know if I can point it. Well, here they say that it's bad for the biodiversity, where you see the butterflies and the other insects. That you can receive a fine, and that's bad for the mammals, for the birds. And then it's bad for the houses, and it's bad that can impact on explosives here, and finally it's bad for biodiversity. This is what the knowledge Lithuania is saying to the population. And according to this, well, the children, what they are doing, they are making draws in the school, saying that not burn the grass because we will kill the insects. So, or they just don't burn the grass, just, you know. So it's quite impressive. And this is the most beautiful one that they say that don't burn the grass because you will kill me. Okay. So based on this, I made some research in Lithuania from the previous years. And together with some colleagues that are here in this room, I try to analyze how is the spring grassland fires impact on the soils. So basically there's almost difference between the soil color, also the soil organic matter do not change very much. does not change nothing. There is a little increase of water repellency, but this is very, very short in time. 9 months after, it's over. And again, this is some graphs that was published already about how the hydrophobicity changes with the time. So you may see that after the fire increase, of course, it's normal, 2 months decrease, 5 months and 7 months almost imperceptible, and 9 months there is no hydrophobicity in soils. This happens the same with the elements. It was another recent publication that we have done that the major impacts are, well, you see in green, there is a significant increase of pH, EC, but 9 months is already absent. So, and most interesting of all is the vegetation, how the vegetation recover. We made some study about the immediate recovery of vegetation after these grassland fires, and after 45 days, in some slopes, 100% of the vegetation was recovered. Well, I'll not go too much in the graphs. These figures, maybe if you already saw it, but this is quite impressive. There's 45 days after the fire, there is no evidence of fire. So I don't know why the TV and all the population and all the advertisement is showing this without scientific basics. And a few years ago, we have done also a study on the stakeholders, and we try to know what is the vision of stakeholders regarding the opinion about prescribed fire management. And of course, forestry employers are the ones that are against prescribed fire, because they're the ones that think that they have impact on their economic activity, and this is especially because of interests among the stakeholders. The public has a negative opinion, but the people and the ecologists that deal with nature management, they are not against prescribed fire. They accept it as a management tool. But the fact that the lobby of forests is so big in Lithuania that is not allow us to implement this strategy. So, this is a questionnaire. Well, we made 54 stakeholders, and measure of them, they don't have information about this method. So maybe it will be interesting that some of them could come here, and I believe they'll have a lot of information during these 3 days. The second thing is that they believe that is not scientifically certified. This is a very big lack of knowledge and of information that can be also guilty of the scientifics, but also perhaps of their will to learn. And interesting is that if you have to burn something or apply it in some place, you can apply it in grasslands. Why? Because it's how Spanish say, es un mal menor. At least you can burn grasslands, maybe it's not so bad. And what do you think about if this is an effective method? They say there is not enough data. Well, I don't think so. We have some studies in that latitude, not only Lithuania, and I think that they could be used this data. And finally, why they don't apply this measure? You know, most important things is that they fear the reaction of the society, and they think that will affect the forests. So, well, other important thing is what the legal barriers and then what the law in Lithuania say. They say that the fire having bad impacts on the biodiversity, and this is written in the law. Other thing is that we cannot allow to burn nothing for the protection of the air, but they forgot that people going in the car every day have also impacts on air quality. So it's some kind of paradox here. And finally, if you burn something, whatever it is, you can have a fine. So it's very restricted in Lithuania. So to make a big conclusions, I think I'm still on time, that wildfire have important impacts on Lithuania, economical and social costs. The information that you saw is total bias. It's very sad. And these spring grasslands fires that we study in these latitudes have a short but beneficial impacts because facilitate the vegetation recuperation. Well, grasslands are resilient to fire, and this negative perception have implication on implementation of prescribed fire activities. Okay, so this poor information will lead to the situation that we have today. Prescribed fire is forbidden and is punished. If you do fire, manage the land. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulo. We have time for questions. Someone?
Stefan Dörr, Swansea University. Paulo, thank you. What is the background in terms of forbidding prescribed fires? When did legislation start that stopped the fires?
Well, the background is that the foresters have a big lobby, big interested group that do not want fire to be implemented on the landscape because they have big plantations of Pinus sylvestris and they have afraid that have affect their economy. They have is for afraid of the economical interest, nothing based on ecological or other.
Am I right in assuming that this is a post-war environment where probably previous to the Second World War or maybe earlier there was much more prescribed burning in the landscape?
No, for example, the farmers by tradition they applied these spring burnings because they want to remove the grass, increase the nutrients of the soil, and to be more facilitate to tillage the soil. For from the spring and summer, they can cultivate their own products. But the question is that the new society or the more urban society is very against this because what they see is only the smoke. They don't see the benefits of this practice for agriculture, and this is why people are very against it. And unfortunately, in Lithuania, they don't listen very much to the environmental scientists. We have several problems with that. That, for example, is nothing regarding with fires, but there is a big landslide in the most important castle in Lithuania because they didn't listen to the environment. So it's only a case that fire is another case.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cristina.
Tenemos tiempo,
Paulo, you have another
Yeah,
question
we have
from
time.
Cristina.
Yeah, we have time.
I was just wondering if you are planning to do any outreach activity, if you are involved with land managers or policy makers there to try to
Yes.
change the situation.
I was involved, and I was involved in the first prescribed burning that they have done in Lithuania. That took 2 years to make this implementation. It was some kind of national event that some natural park authorities wanted to do. Well, yes, I am. As far as they asked me for expertise, I'm involved on the implementation, and I'm going to do well, I'm going to give not classes, but to talk with farmers, with land managers, to explain the benefits of prescribed fires and of fire in general. Yes, I'm involved, yes.
So maybe in a few years' time, the perception.
Maybe, who knows?
You will tell us.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Paulo and Cristina.